What's up, y'all? So today we're going to talk about intonation. We're going to set up the intonation on this here Stratocaster, just a player series made in Mexico Stratocaster that I've had for a while for some various projects, and it's got our Dylan Talks Tone Classic 5 single coils in it. You can order those at a link below. There'll be a link for them. But the real reason we're going to talk about intonation today is because the fine folks at Highwood Saddles sent me a set of their cool saddles. Now these are designed just a little differently. We'll get to that in a minute than the ones that you have in a normal Strat. So I figured we'd put these in this Strat. I want to try them out. I've never tried them in one of my guitars. I've tried them in like John Cruz guitars before, but I've never tried them in mine. So I figured let's do that, but we're gonna have to take the saddles out and set them completely up from scratch and get the intonation right on the guitar. So that might be a little bit of a project. So if you've never set the intonation on your Strat before, or on your Tele or anything with this kind of saddles in it, I will show you how to do that. So let's get going.
Get to the chopper!
Okay, so let's chat about, first of all, why we're even doing any of this stuff, why we're swapping out these saddles. This is the Highwood saddle, the replacement saddle. I saw these on, I think, John Cruz custom guitars before, and playing those guitars, I really liked them. The reason is because if you look at a normal Strat saddle, you don't really think about this, but they've got the screws, the adjustment screws in them, and the way they're stamped. If you look at a saddle from the side, you can see this, like, it's got like a hump, and then the screw goes through it, and it doesn't seem like any big deal. Like if you look at the low E, it's totally fine. But if you look at the B and the high E, because you have to lower them, then the little Allen screws stick through the top. And a lot of people, I don't personally have as much issue with this, but a lot of people do have problems saying, depending on how their guitar is set up, that it like bites into their hand while they're playing. Like literally people bleed while they play.
You believe this?
Because of these saddles. So Highwood has them different ones. See, if you notice the close-up of these ones, you'll see it's like wrapped around, and it actually goes through it twice. So you can actually raise or lower the saddle without the screw ever poking through the top of the saddle and hurting your hand. The other thing is it's got the little center groove in it, so it centers the string in the saddle kind of better than the Fender ones. So anyway, those are the little features and benefits or whatever of these saddles. So let's go ahead and rip this guitar. I guess we'll go to an overhead and maybe a time lapse. We'll rip this thing apart, and I'm gonna just generally get them put in the guitar, but I'm not gonna set anything. We're just gonna get them like on the guitar, and then let's chat again. Okay, so I've got the saddles just on the guitar. A little note is when you're putting these on, lower them all the way down, like retract the screws all the way in so that the saddles are flat against the guitar. It just makes it easier to get them in there. Anyway, I'll go ahead and put strings on this thing, and then let's talk about this setup and the intonation. So you'll see that these are just sitting here. They're kind of all in a straight line. Obviously the guitar would be completely whack, but we'll show you how to set all that up in a minute. Okay, so now that we've got it on here, at least they're kind of on the guitar, the first thing we want to probably do is set our string height. I at least get this close as possible. So, you know, just go along here and set string height like you're supposed to, because like we mentioned earlier, we flattened these all the way down to the body to put them on the guitar. It just made it easier to do that. So setting the string height is a thing. And then after that, this is where it gets into the intonation part that could be a little difficult. Okay, so first of all, we want to define what intonation means. And basically, all we're really doing is we're measuring the scale length of the guitar. So, and what we do then is each of the saddles is compensated a small distance to make up for the thickness of each of the strings. What we mean by that is, on this guitar, the scale is 25.5 inches, or from the 12th fret to the saddle, 13.75 inches. But then this string, the B string, is thicker, the G string is thicker, and so on. So then we need to compensate so that mathematically it's still half the distance. The 12th fret is still half the distance from the nut, but since the thickness of the string changes, that's why we need to adjust these just a little bit. So what we're going to do first, since we've started off completely from scratch with no reference at all, is we're going to actually measure. I like to measure from the 12th fret to the center of the saddle, and I want the center of the saddle to the center of the 12th fret. Now let's get this right. We don't want it the edge of the fret. We want the actual top crown of the fret to the actual top crown of the saddle, not the front or the back, but where the string is actually going to leave the saddle, which is right in the middle right there. We want that to be 13.75 inches. Now, you could probably see me, I apologize, 12.75. 12.75 inches. So you can probably see me pulling the tape measure forward to 1 inch and measuring to 13.75. The reason I do that is because I can be a little bit more accurate with the actual hash mark on the tape measure. So this looks like we need to move the saddle that way a little bit. So we're going to establish the scale length of the guitar. So at least that's pretty dead close. So now we're going to go ahead and use the, I want to get it close anyway. That's at least your reference point. So now we're going to use a high quality tuner, and we're going to, let's set the intonation. Okay, so what I'm attempting to do here is give you like an over the shoulder what I see when I'm doing this. It's a little helpful for what we're about to talk about. Now that we've mathematically figured out the 25.5 inch scale on the E string, and we know that we're just going to compensate all the rest of them for the thickness of the strings, what we're going to do is we're going to tune the E string as tightly as possible. And the way this strobe tuner works is if it spins to the right, it's sharp. If it spins to the left, it's flat. And I like to get this as close as possible. In fact, let's just tune everything up. Okay, we're pretty close. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fret our 12th fret. See how it goes that way just a little bit? That means it's flat. So on a right-handed guitar, if it goes that way, then that means that saddle needs to go that way, which would be a little bit looser. Okay, see, so now the G string, it's going sharp. It's going that way. So that means the saddle needs to go that way. Now, if you have a normal needle meter or like a snark or something, you just follow, same thing, follow the direction of the meter. If you're left-handed, you have to go the opposite. So in order to go that way, we need to go tighter on the saddle. It's like I went a little too far. Yeah, yeah, I'm working on this, and I forgot to tell you, there's a link in the description of this video to the saddles, to the tuner, because you need a quality tuner to do this. A snark probably won't cut it. The cable, all the stuff that we use to do this, as well as the tools, because the little Allen keys and stuff you're going to need to work on your guitar. So all those tools, all the tuner, everything will be in the links in the description. If you use those links, it does help us out a little bit. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. Well, that, I think, is a fairly good result. So let's talk about a couple of things that we need to know about setting intonation. One is it needs to be the last step in your setup of your guitar. You saw that we were making very, very small adjustments with intonation. If you have to make big swings, or let's say you run out of room over here, it means you've got something else wrong in your setup. You need to start at the very beginning of your setup. Neck relief, nut height, string height, then intonation last. You want to make sure that you do that last, because that's kind of a compensation for all those other things. Again, if you don't have room over here, if you run out of room or something, that means you did something else a little bit out of adjustment. A couple of people are going to jump in the comments and say, why didn't you use like a harmonic? Like this. Because everybody sets their guitar up a little bit differently. And while an open string harmonic might be the exact center of the string and then might be able to tell you when it's in tune or intonated, it doesn't tell you what it's like when you're playing it. And if your action is set higher than mine, then that 12th fret note that I fret will be different on your guitar than it will be on my guitar.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So I feel this is just how I do it. An opinion of after playing with this hundreds of times is that if you fret the 12th fret, then it gives you a closer picture of how your setup on your guitar should sound at the 12th fret. If you use an open, it doesn't really do that, because every time you pull down on the string anywhere on the fretboard, you're pulling the guitar away from pitch. It's only perfectly in pitch with an open string. As soon as we pull it down here, or pull it down here, or pull it down here, we're pulling it away from that perfect pitch. So I just feel like that better compensates for that. So people are going to ask why in the comments, so I just figured I'd address that right now. Simplest terms is this. If you're playing a right-handed guitar and the tuner goes towards the nut, move the saddle towards the nut. If the tuner goes towards the saddle, move the saddle further towards the saddle. That's really it. It's fairly simple. And remember, all you're doing is compensating for the thickness differences in the string as they get fatter. So if you have to move it more than half the distance of this fat string right here, then you've got a problem somewhere else. Anyway, there you go. A little look into intonation. If you have any questions about this, put it in the comments below. Also, check out those Highwood saddles. I think they're really cool. They feel nice. They don't really do anything for the tone, in my opinion, but they do feel great, and they work really well, and they're machined really nicely, and they're a very high quality piece. So yeah, check them out. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, as well as make sure you check out some of our other content that we've got going on this week. Live stream on Tuesday, hanging out with you. We've got a Q&A on Thursday, hanging out with you. We've got news on Wednesday. We've got all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you check all that stuff out, and we will see you in the next video.